Hey everybody, this is Eskar here. Before I start this video, I would like to discuss just shortly that the intention for me for this video is to educate people on what they want to do as an LE Shaman right now, at least based on my own perceptions on what I've seen. And I'd also like to open this video up as like a forum. I want people to post comments on their ideas, their concepts, what they're doing, what works for them, things that they think I'm saying that they don't quite agree with, and maybe reasoning. I'd like this to be a open discussion where we can talk about things and we can work on things. So go ahead and post in the comments after you've watched the video, and I hope you enjoy and I hope you learn a lot. If you need any help, I hope that it works amazingly for you. So on with the show. Yeah, let's get started. So you're an LE Shaman in Mr. Pandaria. You haven't played in a while, maybe you're on alt, I don't know. Maybe you just don't know. Let's go over some important things. Yes, I have a skeleton on my head. Not skeleton, not a pumpkin. What has changed? Wrong. Well, we can open that too, but some important stat things that have changed. You only need 15% hit rating now, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 5100 hit rating. So let's see. Even Blizzard gives you this nice little tab. Look how much has changed for Shaman. So much. Additionally, many of our old talents have become specialization spells. Yes, Blizzard is correct. That is true. And then totems are a bigger change. We have new totems, and our totems can no longer be dropped synchronously. They cannot just all be dropped at once because they're all utility totems. They all do something. They even give you your core abilities. So these are still your core abilities. The priority queue for what you're supposed to do is still the same pretty much. It's not in this order actually, but you know, profession-wise, you can choose whatever you want. But let's go ahead and go in. So they've greatly reduced our spell numbers by removing spells that we don't use, which is actually beneficial for you. So if you feel like you're missing spells, you're not. You just only have spells for LE. See, and then if you go to enhancement, they have enhancement and resto. You can see what they get. But so let's look at anything new that we've gotten, which is not much. The things that we've gotten that are new, that are basic, are, let us see. Not in that one. Is it ever a totem over here? Those are all the same. Where's it? Where's it? There we go. Two new totems here: Capacitor Totem and Stormlash Totem. Those are given. You don't have to choose them in a talent or anything. Stormlash Totem, it says that it summons an air totem within 5 feet of the health, 5 health in 5 feet of the caster. Empowering allies within 30 yards with lightning, while empowered ally spells and attacks will trigger bursts of electricity, dealing additional nature damage to their targets. This did, when I did testing, it averaged to be about, with heroism up, I personally got an extra 60k damage out of Stormlash Totem being dropped. Other people, like people that use dots, not so much, but people who are straight casters or attacks, melees, they benefit more. Because if you got dots, I don't think it applies to dots. Based on what I'm looking at and what I've seen, it doesn't apply to dots. So it's straight cast, so Shadow Bolts would only work for locks. I'm not sure if it works for Mind Flay, because it's a channeled spell. So I don't know actually on that one. But then we also have Capacitor Totem, which summons an air totem with 5 health at the feet of the caster that gathers electrical energy from the surrounding air and then explodes after 5 seconds to stun all enemies within 8 yards for 5 seconds. 5-second stun for 5-second wait build up. It's actually pretty nice in PvP if you combine it with some things, but I'll talk about that later. Let's see, what else did we get? Oh, my favorite spell, Ascendance. This spell is awesome. Now, Ascendance, the Shaman surrenders his physical form to the power of the elements, gaining the ability to transform into a being of raw elemental energy for 15 seconds. Now, depending on your spec, this will give you different things, and we're focusing on elemental this video, so I'm only going to read the elemental one. Elemental, while in the form of a lava ascendant or flame ascendant, lava burst has no cooldown, and chain lightning is empowered to become lava beam. Now, I don't use this for AoE. I use it to continuously spam lava burst at the beginning of a fight with heroism. It's an insane amount of burst that you get when you do that. Now, everything else is pretty much the same. You get Earthquake now without having to choose it, so I mean, people have it now. Let's see. Are these all the same? Yeah, pretty much, except for the ones that you can get from talents, your weapon imbues. You don't get all of weapon imbues anymore. You only get some of them depending on your spec. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, then see, these look familiar, don't they? Elemental Focus, Fury, Oath, Precision, Reach, Fulmination, Grace of Air, Lava Surge. Those are talents, and they put them into our spellbook now. So that's kind of where they went. So you didn't really lose a lot of power or anything like that with the change in talent system at all. But that's what we're going to talk about right now, is the talent system. This video is the changes. So let's go ahead and couple the next one into specifically being talents. So yeah, I'm going to break it off for a second and then bring it back. So hold on. Welcome back. You're with Eskar as always. Here we go. Let's talk about talents for LA Shamans in Miss Pandaria patch. The very first one. It's like 5.0.1. Those are glyphs. We'll talk about that after talents. So talents, yeah, they changed them yet again. 2 expansions in a row. Changes. When the talents first came out, I was very apprehensive about them. But so I'm just going to talk about them and what they mean to you, and what the numbers say about some of them. Because for the most part, there is one thing you have to understand about these talents. They are completely arbitrary for the most part. They're all considered what you would label as viable talents. You can choose any of them. Just some are very much so less viable than others. But there's only 3 choices per tier. There's a total of 6 tiers. Each is 15 levels, all the way up to 90. Now, I'm sure this is going to get tweaked and changed again next expansion, because we're going to only have 5 more levels gained. Or probably, that's what I'm betting. But that's way down the road. Way down the road. So, at level 15, you get your first tier, which is a PvP tier, or survival tier. That's what I call it. I kind of make up my own names for them, but I call it survival tier. Second tier is the PvP tier. Then you have the totem tier. Then you have the first DPS utility tier. Actually, it could be like the first DPS HPS utility tier, I guess you could say. The second to last tier is your healing tier. And the third one is your second utility and healing tier. Now, the only ones that have numbers, that I have numbers on their uses, are these bottom 4. The first 2 are much more arbitrary than the other ones. Or these 4 right here are the ones that I have some numbers to talk about. But so let's get to it. I'm kind of wasting a lot of time. Just random time talking about stuff. So the first tier is the survivability tier. I call it that because it's all about surviving. You have Nature's Guardian, which, if you are familiar with the Resto talent that it used to be, that's exactly what it is. If you get hit below 30% health, it's going to instantly increase your health by 25% and reduce your threat levels, allowing for healers to heal you up, catch up to you. Much more powerful in PvP than in any PvE scenario, because typically, in my experiences, when I pull threat, I get hit so hard that I can't even hope to not be dead before this would go off. So then you have Stone Bulwark Totem, which is a totem that it says summon a totem with 5 health at the feet of the caster for 30 seconds. So it creates a shield around the caster, absorbing 36,000 damage, basically pretty close to 37,000 damage. Let's just round it up for 10 seconds, and then an additional shield for about 13k every 5 seconds afterwards. So you get about, the next 5 seconds. So you have 20 seconds left. That's 4 more ticks, 4 more shields. It will stack up. If I don't know, I'm unsure if it stacks, because if it stacks, you don't take the damage, and you could stack it up to about, let's see, 74k, which is substantial. But you have to be taking no hits. It has a 1-minute cooldown. The next one is the one I have right here. Hostile Shift, 2-minute cooldown. Reduces damage taken by 40% for 6 seconds. Now, I find that the reduction in damage by 40% for 6 seconds is about on par with the Stone Bulwark Totem every minute, if you popped it every minute or you needed it. So I would honestly go back and forth between the two, depending on if you need them. If you're going to constantly need damage reduction every minute, like if there's something every minute that you need to reduce damage, then go with Stone Bulwark Totem, so it'll protect you more often. But if you need a huge damage reduction for one moment, like an example would be an Altraxion, if you were going to stay out. Now LA Shamans could viably stay out. I think I hit my fraps button. I'm sorry if there's like a weird audio cut there. You could, because it would be 40% reduction for 6 seconds, pop at the right time. So for now I have that, but it's definitely one I would choose between Stone Bulwark Totem and Astral Shift, whichever is your preference, and you can go back and forth. The next tier is the PvP tier. It's got Frozen Power, which will make your Frost Shock empowered to freeze targets. It has some uses in a fight where maybe you wanted to freeze a target, but its shock cooldown is still shared with Flame Shock and Earth Shock, which really messes with your rotation. So if you really had to root something that badly in a fight, I would go to the next talent on the right, which is Earth Grab Totem. Earth Grab Totem right here. It's a 30-second cooldown. It replaces your Earth Bind Totem. Earth Grab Totem roots targets, and if they've already been rooted, then it slows them. They're only rooted for, I believe, a small percentage of time. It's not for like the entire 20 seconds. I have to look at it and reading it now, but it pulses every 2 seconds. Yeah, see, it's only 5 seconds. There we go. That's what I thought. I knew it was only a small percentage of time. It's up. So 5 seconds of rooting and then 15 seconds of being slowed. So it's kind of nice, but there are other classes that have stronger rooting or snaring abilities. So I chose one that other classes don't really have, which is Windwalk Totem, which summons an air totem with 5 feet health at the feet of the caster. I always mix those up. For 6 seconds. It's only 6 seconds, but it removes all movement impairing effects. Grants immunity. Everybody moves quickly. So I mean, it's kind of helpful. So you have the whole raid get Hand of Freedom, which is a paladin ability, if you don't know what I'm saying. That's a paladin ability that removes immunity. Whatever. But I like it. It's kind of helpful. It's already been helpful a few times. You know, you pop it and everybody gets to move quickly. There's no worries about issues or movement impairing effects in the fight. It's also helpful in PvP if someone tries to slow you. So it's a pretty nice totem. Plus I just love having more totems. Now the next one is the totem tier. You have Call of the Elements, which will reset your cooldown on any totem with less than a 3-minute cooldown. It has to be less than 3 minutes. It cannot be 3 minutes. Totemic Restoration, which is if your totem gets destroyed, up to 50% of that cooldown can be reduced. So if my Fire Elemental got destroyed as soon as I procced it, I'd get, 2.5 minutes off the cooldown maximum. But that's because I'm not glyphed, which we'll talk about in a second. Totemic Projection has a 40-yard range, and it has a 10-second cooldown, and it relocates your active totems to the specific location. So, I mean, I can show you that, what it does basically. So let's say I have my Searing Totem down over here. There it is right there. Move it all the way over there. That's nice, isn't it? Look at that. Went all the way over there. Hi, totem. But yeah, so you can move it back, and then if I had to, like let's say I need to move back over here, moved it right back. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's like a spell. It takes a GCD. But it's really helpful because you're going to use a GCD anyways to move this totem or to replace it somewhere else, which I accidentally hit that over there. But so in my mind, I would say it's pretty worth it. Sorry. So the next tier is the healing. Actually not the healing tier. It's the first DPS utility tier. I'm full of mistakes right now. So with this one, the numbers are showing Echo of the Elements as the strongest talent. If that's what you're here to see, that's what it says. It's by 2 or 3% over Elemental Mastery. Now the reasoning behind this is that the more haste you garner on your character, the less helpful Elemental Mastery is due to haste caps, where you haste cap on Flame Shock, but not only on that, but where haste stops affecting Chain Lightning and Lightning Bolt and Lava Burst. So, and if you have Elemental Mastery and Heroism up at the same time, you can easily hit that cap now if you have the proper amount of haste, which is apparently going to be achievable by the next set of rating tier. Right now, though, it's interesting. I don't know about right now exactly. I also chose Echo of the Elements because it reminds me of my beloved DTR, which is Dragon Wrath, Tarsagosa's Rest. So when you're doing that, between the three right there, what you're looking at is that Echo of the Elements is a much stronger talent because it gives you a duplicated spec. Hold on one moment. Sorry about that. The hold on comment. My dad needed to ask me a question and I was making the video. So yeah, so Elemental Mastery is a still viable talent. You can still choose it if you wish. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's hard to get rid of a cooldown that Elemental Shamans have had since God knows when. We've had it for so long. But I have Echo the Elements right now, and I've chosen it because it offers more stability. What I found right now with Elemental Shamans as a class that's a problem is that we can provide extensive amounts of burst, like way well into the 200, 300k range. And unfortunately, though, we cannot sustain any of that burst, and we're not really holding on to it. So what I've been trying to do is choose talents that increase stability, and that's why I have Echo the Elements. Ancestral Swiftness is the third talent, but it falls very far behind Elemental Mastery and Echo in DPS. As for HPS, I don't know. Resto Shamans, and you could use it. It's viable. Much more viable there. It's much more viable for Resto Shamans than it is for us. I mean, an instant cast lightning bolt every minute, or yeah, lightning bolt, because Lava Burst doesn't count as a nature spell. And another 5% melee or spell and melee haste is an interesting thing to add, but even using it on cooldown every minute is not more DPS than Elemental Mastery or Echo the Elements by a significant amount. So onward to the next tier of totems and healing spells. It's 75. So I also have numbers for this one. Conductivity is not useful to us as LA Shamans. You have to be standing in your own healing range. So you have to cast healing range for this to work, where the healing from your damage would be spread out. It's just not, it's not there. I mean, healing range got a huge cast time compared to other spells. I mean, it's actually fast for us. That's odd. But see, to put it down, you lose, that's an extra lightning bolt you could cast. Like, it's not worth it. That's what I've been told. It's not worth it because it's you could cast an extra lightning bolt instead of casting healing rain. So it's better to go with Ancestral Guidance or Healing Tide Totem. So I looked more so at those two numbers. Now, Ancestral Guidance is showing higher numbers of healing than Healing Tide Totem. It heals, but it heals only the most 3 injured party members, which could change. Whereas Healing Tide Totem heals the most 5 injured. Now, healing type totem doesn't heal as much, but I've chosen it just because of the 5. Typically, when I need to help the raid heal, I'm healing. Like the raid's kind of being bundled, so half the raid getting healed extensively is very helpful. So that's why I have healing type totem. But you can choose ancestral guidance and pop it, and it will definitely heal up people pretty well, pretty efficiently. Conductivity, though, I don't think it's in the cards for us. It's DPS loss to use conductivity, and you wouldn't have much viability for it compared to others. So we go on to the last tier, the coveted tier of 90. Once you've finally trekked through Pandaria and gotten, the highest status level, that little 9-0. There's 3 talents. This is the second DPS increase or modification tier for LE Shamans. And right off the bat, Unleashed Fury is not viable for us. We don't use Unleashed Elements. My Unleashed Elements is over here because I never use it because I'm glyphed for the ability to cast Lightning Bolt while moving. So I don't ever use it for anything. It's not usable for me. So it's not something I'm using right now. But just so you know, what it does is it increases the enemy target's damage taken from your Lightning Bolt by 30% for 10 seconds once you use Unleashed Elements of Flame Tongue Weapon. And in theory, that sounds nice. If Flame Tongue Weapon was off the GCD, or not Flame Tongue Weapon, Unleashed Elements was off the GCD, that would be much more viable. Because then you would just use it every 14 seconds and get 30% increased Lightning Bolt, which is your filler spell and is going to be a huge chunk of the spells you cast. Although lessened by the change to the Lava Surge proc, which now makes it instant cast. And so you can have many more Lava Burst casts. The 2 spells to the right are the ones that are much more viable, much more competitive. And the only difference between them, really, is that Elemental Burst shows more stability. It's definitely much more stable. And it is not contribute as much burst, though, as Prime Elementarist. That contributes much more burst. Now, in the long run, Elemental Burst, shows a higher DPS gain by 2 to 3% over the long haul of a fight. And Prime Elementalist, I was under the impression that you got a pet for permanent for the fight, so you got to have the entire fight, but it's actually the same duration. So it's not as strong as I thought it was. And they're 50% more powerful elementals, so they increase your burst by significant numbers. But the more, you gotta remember, the more you increase your burst, the more you're gonna drop after the end when they don't have it anymore. And fights are definitely lasting longer than your Ellie's mental. I almost said Ellie Shaman. Ellie mental can be up. So I've chosen Elemental Blast. Now, like I said, these talents are completely arbitrary almost. I mean, with the exception of examples like Unleashed Fury or Ancestral Swiftness, where they're just not anywhere close to the viability of other talents, you can choose between these 2 or these 2, and you could these 2, and these ones here, these ones. There's options you can choose, and then you can change depending on the fight. It's so easy to change now with Tome of the Clear Mind. You can just change your talents like that. So let's go on and go ahead and talk about Glyphs now. Let's go ahead and go there. Glyphs have been entirely reworked, and to be honest, I'm not a fan. I liked the way Glyphs were. They should have left them alone. But the changes they have brought are what they are, and you've got to work with them. So the 3 Glyphs I have chosen are Flame Shock, Unleash Lightning, and Chain Lightning, which can be subbed for Fire Elemental Totem. Those are about the only 4 viable Glyphs for LE Shamans right now. The only reason you would choose LE Totem was to decrease the elemental totems to 3 minutes on the cooldown, so you could use it more than once in a fight. And I feel that goes much better with Prime Elementarist than it does with Elemental Blast, but it does help when you're considering the fact that it would then link your elemental cooldown with Ascendance. But So far, I found that it's better just to pop things as they come, personally. But you can use it for that purpose. It is there. And you're definitely going to want to use chain lightning over it, though, when you have more than 2 targets that you need to hit that are additional. So, I mean, it's a total of, what, 5? You bring it from 3 to 5. You're going to need that glyph subbed out, though, if there's less than 5 targets. You're not going to want to hit it. Actually, if there's less than 4, I should say. If there's only 3 targets, you're going to use it. See, and the other ones, they're not so viable. So, honestly, I don't know what you would replace it with if you didn't want to use the Ellie Totem one. That's why I don't like it. I miss the old one. I mean, you could use Spirit Walker, so you get increased Spirit Walker, which can be helpful while you're Pop Descendants, I guess. It depends on what you want to do. So that's what I've chosen for now. And I don't really get to use Chain Lightning too much in a fight, so I'm not too worried about it. You know, I haven't subbed it out yet, but when you're looking at minor glyphs, these ones are 100% arbitrary. You can choose whichever ones you want. Me, if you want to really know, I chose Astral Recall so I can hearth more often. Farsight, because I've always wanted to use Farsight inside buildings so I can go inside raids and creep farther and farther until I find things. And Spectral Wolf, because I don't like the Coyote anywhere near as much as I like this. Look at that. Look at that. It's like a Duskwood Spectral Wolf. You become larger too. This wolf is larger. So that's why I've chosen this. Your Ghost Wolf becomes Spectral Wolf. So yeah. The other ones that you could choose would be, you know, Thunderstorm, which removes the knockback effect, so situational usage if you needed to remove the knockback but you needed the mana back. Most targets that are in a boss fight don't get knocked back anyways by Thunderstorm unless they're ads. And then you have Totemic Encirclement, which causes 4 totems to encircle you anytime you drop 1. So I mean it's kind of like for people that you know they can't imagine them not having 4 totems drop at once. So they give you a way to glyph it in. But I stopped using it after a while just because I wanted the Spectral Wolf more. Whoa, sorry about that. So that's kind of like a short overview of glyphs, really, because glyphs have been changed. They're much more simple. Just overall simpler, really. I mean, you can't really do too much with them. They're kind of like, say this one says Restoration. They kind of try to tell you that that's not for your spec if it's not. Ellie doesn't have any specific glyphs that I've seen other than Unstable Earth. You know, Unleash Lightning even is not there. You could use it for enhancement, I guess, for when you're far away. You can start casting running. I don't know. I'm not an enhancement shaman. But yeah, so that's kind of the talents and glyphs and such. And let's go ahead and get into talk about changes to rotation if you use my talents. I'll try to cover the others too, but I mean, I don't use them, so I don't know them as well. But let's go ahead and get on to that. Hey everybody, like I said, let's go on, continue with rotation. So, for Ellie Shamans right now, it really does depend on your spec, like I said. So let's go take a look at talents real fast. So, if you choose Prime Elementarist, you're only going to get the core rotation. That's what you're going to do. You're going to kind of just be there with that because essentially you are not adding an extra spell. You're just making one of your spells more powerful. But if you choose Unleashed Fury, which I've already recommended you not to do, and if you choose Elemental Blast, which I have recommended you to do, they will become one of the higher priority spells in your priority queue. Now, what I mean by priority queue is that Ellie Shamans really don't have a rotation as much as a priority queue, which is a kind of list. Like if A is present, do A. If not, then use B. If not, then use C. So what you're kind of looking at with that, with Ellie Shamans, if you use Unleashed Fury, I believe it's called, that's going to become your number 1. You want to use that on cooldown. And if you use Elemental Blast, it's like the same thing. So your main priorities are 3 things. First, you got to keep Flame Shock up at all times. This is important because the talent Lava Surge depends on your Flame Shock. I'm sorry, opening the wrong things. So Lava Burst, as we all know, and then is a great spell. No, spell book, sorry. It's this talent right here. So if you look at Lava Surge, your Flame Shock periodic damage ticks have a chance to reset your cooldown on Lava Burst spell and cause your next Lava Burst spell to be instant. So that depends heavily on your Flame Shock. Now, because of this, there's been a lot of support for the idea of clipping your Flame Shock. Now, what that means is that you cast your Flame Shock when you still have 1 tick remaining on your Flame Shock on the target. This will then add that tick to your previous one. This, guys, is like a sustained Flame Shock rotation that's more powerful. It apparently is a DPS increase, and it helps you out a lot. So, for me, I didn't really know what 1 tick was, and I'm pretty sure it matters with haste, but in each class. But as for me, as a goblin right now it's at 2 seconds. If I have 2 seconds left on my Flame Shock and I Flame Shock cast, I'll clip it. So that's just like number 1. You want to keep Flame Shock up. It's important. Gives you Lava Burst procs. Now, Lava Burst is only your main priority spell after that if it has the proc and it's an instant cast. If you have to hard cast it, which means you have to cast it with the full cast time, then Elemental Blast is more important. So keep Flame Shock up. Elemental Blast unless you have Lava Burst with the Lava Surge proc. And then after Elemental Blast, if you don't have that proc, then you're going to use normal Lava Burst. After that, you're looking at this talent here, which is Fulmination, which you want to use between, in my personal experience, 6 to 7 stacks. You know, get it on the 6th one or the 7th one. Some people may say 5 to 7, but I found that 5 is not really a good indicator, or it's not a good marker. For me, it's 6 or 7 really works best. After that, you're going to want to make sure you have a Fire Totem down. Once you've put your Fire Totem down for the first time, you have to maintain it, just like Flame Shock. You just have to put it down again, because it's kind of important to have that constant pet damage. Now, the problem with totems that I have stated many times to Blizzard is that they refuse to take our totems off the GCD. Now that we can only place 1 at a time, I think they should just take it off the GCD. But it's a DPS loss a little bit every time you click a totem, but it's even more so if you don't keep one up. So the Fire Totem is kind of a quirky object right now, but it works. If you're going to be using your Ellie Totem right off the bat, make sure you try to use it with as much haste and as much intellect as you can get when you pop it. It'll give you the best results. Other than that, after that, you're going to go to your filler spell. Now, what a filler spell is, if you don't know, is it's the spell that you cast while all the other options in your priority queue are down. So, and that will happen. It happens a lot, actually. And during this time, you're either going to cast Lightning Bolt, or you're going to cast Chain Lightning, depending on how many targets you have. Now, in MOP, we don't have the mana regen we had with Cataclysm. So you can actually go if you're spamming Chain Lightning for a long time. I was fighting Stone Guardians the other day, and I had obviously changed the glyph out. But so I was casting Chain Lightning as a filler spell, and I was going I was getting real See, if you see right here, I was going pretty crazy. So let me find it right here. Let me find it. There we go. There's our kill. You can see Chain Lightning is right there. Chain Lightning, Lightning Bolt. I kind of had to do you had to kind of weave them. Lava Burst was my strongest spell, obviously, because Lava Burst is ridiculously epic, over 36% of my damage. But yeah, and then so the other reason why you want to have Flame Shock up at all times, by the way, if you did not know, is it makes Lava Burst a 100% guaranteed critical strike. That's pretty awesome. So that's kind of the rotation. So if I were to kind of do a small demonstration, don't look at the DPS. That's not important right here. It's just the demonstration. Typically, before a fight starts, I try to drop the Flame Totem, and then I just go like this. So there you go. I put Flame Shock up. You see it there. Now I've got my filler spell going because I can't cast Fulmination yet. So I'm just sitting here, and that's off cooldown, just a little bit before. So you can see me. I'm waiting for my 6. There we go. Cast Fulmination. Instant cast Lava Burst. See how I use the instant cast Lava Burst first? I didn't get the clip off there because I was in the middle of casting, but I'll try to show you just a basic clip. So that's kind of like what you're doing, is you're just prioritizing the Elemental Blast, then Lava Burst. If you need to put Flame Strike up, make sure you put it up. Hopefully I'm going to try to clip this one. I should be able to. Oh, I didn't actually get to. So I'll just go ahead and show you a clip right now. We'll go ahead and just sit here and wait for it. And I'll just continue to talk about what you should probably try to do. You should pop Ascendance when you have the most damage available to you. Like if you have like a fight like Araja where you get extra damage, you're going to want to pop your... Damn it, I'm missing the clip. Sorry. You're going to want to pop it when you have the most damage available to you. So that's kind of helpful to know. And then that's kind of like your only cooldown unless you popped Elemental Mastery as well, unless you chose that. And you're going to use that also when you try to have as much damage possible or when you're starting out a fight. I'll give like a demonstration of DPS after this, like an actual one where I'm not talking and just kind of focusing. So there's 2 seconds. And see how it clipped? It's at 31. I got an extra tick out of that. That's good. There we go. There's your clipping. It takes some time to get used to. I'm not even fully used to it yet, but clipping is helpful from everything I hear. And you also get those instant cast procs. Now let's go ahead and move on to stats from here. So stats. Stats is it's different than it was when I first did my video in Kata now. I've done testing, like actual in-game testing between haste or mastery. That's the only real question. Everything else is the same. Intellect is still our best stat, followed by making sure you have hit cap, which is 5100 rating, I believe, right now. I have a little bit more than that. I have 5115 now. Followed by haste. What I've learned, it's haste. Haste is the next best stat. I have 5.8k haste. I'm a goblin, so it actually puts me at like 6.2k now. And my mastery is about 6k, 6.3k. What I've noticed is like the best thing to do is to stack haste as much as you can to have more spells, but try to maintain a mastery above 6k if you can do it. Like right now I'm trying to get my haste as high as I can, but I'm trying to make sure that my mastery doesn't suffer too much. You want to keep it balanced almost. I've seen a lot of shamans that have better gear than I do. I don't have amazing gear right now, but I will someday. They are boosting about almost 8k haste, but they're keeping 6k mastery. All of them are. But like I said, forum, let's talk. So, hit cap is always priority. Try to get as much int as you can. Then I would say haste, then mastery, then crit. Crit still it's better than it used to be for us because they increased our crit damage. So now when you crit, we actually crit harder than most classes in the game. But it doesn't make crit that much more valuable to us. It just helps crit not be horrible for us. And it makes it, when you get crit with Elemental Blast, it makes it so it's not horrible. Horrible. But it's still not an amazing stat. Like, I've been trying to get rid of these horrible crit bracers forever. And this crit helm is devastating. It's so bad that I haven't put a meta gem in it yet because I don't want to waste it because they're so expensive on my server. But yeah, so like I said, that's kind of just it right now. Just clicking buttons. Yeah. So I mean, what you're looking at basically with the stats is that it's kind of simple. Right now I have some mastery gems in, but I'm debating on taking them out and putting some haste gems in, because that's a lot of haste. Because at first I was going all mastery, and now I kind of see that haste is better. So if you want, I will be going ahead to make more videos if you want to see anything else. That's kind of it. I mean, I talked about rotation, talents, glyphs. If there's anything else you want to know right now, go ahead and let me know. So onwards to the demonstration and such. Let's go. So that was the burst. That's the end of the burst phase, just letting you know. From here, it you just kind of steady out. You drop or you steady out, depending on, if I had more haste, I wouldn't drop so much. That's what I've been learning, is that the more haste you have, the less you drop. But the longer the fight takes, you'll drop more. I also didn't pop Stormlash Totem, and I should have. But yeah. So you can see that we have incredible burst if you get the opportunity to utilize it. Yeah, that's for sure. But so I mean, I ended up averaging around 50k after about 5 minutes or so. So that's kind of just how it works for me. But you can see like our burst. Like sometimes in dungeons, I hit like 150, 160k burst, and I drop down so fast. But that's just kind of a small demonstration. But our burst is ridiculous, pretty much. That's what I would say. Right now, all these shamans are in the middle of the pack when it comes to DPS, if you're wondering. So I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this video. Like I said in the beginning, I want this to be a forum. I want questions. I want people discussing things. I think it'll be really helpful to the shaman, LA Shaman community, if we can just kind of come together and talk about these things. So hopefully I'll talk to some of you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Eskar out.